Hey, check this out. All right. Let's get down to business.
I run these streets. I never understand how people forget.
What is Hulk Hogan's main event? And I'll teach you 50 bone-crushing moves.
Please, don't try this.
I'm Chef Ramsay. You donkey! This is Hell's Kitchen.
Don't even touch another thing in this kitchen.
You'll go head-to-head against the greatest chefs on roadblocks.
Those are the biggest balls I've ever seen.
Good luck. You're gonna need it.
Now, I've organized these celebrity video games into a few different segments here. I should clarify as well, celebrity video game doesn't mean a video game with a celebrity in it. That's called acting. It's not really that interesting. These are games based around the celebrity, the real life person. Also, if you are interested in seeing me play some of these games, I'm going to be streaming them over on twitch.tv/minikudos. Now, this is one of the most common types of celebrity video games, the celebrity power fantasy, where apparently being rich and famous and having as many sexual prospects as you want, that's not enough. You also have to be presented as a badass in a video game aimed at 12-year-olds. Now, you could take the Steven Seagal route and make Steven Seagal is the final option. Now, this was a game that was meant to come out in the early 90s, featuring the Steven Seagal himself, the Aikido master, the Putin's best friend. Steven Seagal was the final option, which, by the way, phenomenal title. So accurate. If you're calling on Steven Seagal, something is deeply wrong. He really is the final option. The military's busy. James Bond has been killed in action. And I can do this. I'm a professional.
Are you sure?
No, can't think of anyone else. This was obviously meant to be, reminiscent of his golden era of movies and featured digitized graphics like the first Mortal Kombat games. Now, you would assume from that Steven Seagal himself came into the studio and they recorded him in front of a green screen doing all the animations, the walking, the punching, the kicking, the kissing, whatever he needs. According to an interview with Jeff Tarr in September of 1993, we have the rights to his name and image. Okay. Pause. But we used a lookalike because the resolution of even digitized images in cartridges is not such that you can tell the difference. I mean, he's not wrong. You're working with about 15, maybe 20 pixels max. So yeah, I could see why you wouldn't bother the very important Steven Seagal by making him prance around in front of a green screen like an idiot. He goes on to say Seagal still consulted extensively on the project and he received a combination of royalties and guarantees as his compensation. Now that was 1993 when that interview happened. So several years later, the website Nintendo Player interviewed former designer Steve Wick. Let's just say the choice to not shoot with Steven Seagal was not necessarily because of his busy schedule. The real reason Seagal did not appear in the game was that Tech Magic was too cheap to pay him. And he goes on to say, as far as I know, Seagal had no interest or involvement in the game. I never heard about him having any sort of approval on anything. As far as I was ever told, he sold his name and likeness, and that was the end of it. We certainly never had to pitch our designs to him and never saw any feedback from him about it. Now, the game was ultimately cancelled. I guess Steven Seagal's amazing star power is not enough to get this thing off the ground, but the company behind it, Tech Magic, went out of business. In case you're wondering why you never heard of them before. Many years later, a prototype was leaked onto the internet, and yep, it's definitely a Steven Seagal type game. And actually, honestly, for the time period, it does look pretty sick. It would be interesting to see what the final version would look like. This is more exciting than any Steven Seagal movie. Come on, Steven. Show us what you got. Oh, right, yeah. Sorry, you may have forgotten Steven Seagal's infamous regeneration powers, but much like Wolverine. Of course, Steven Seagal wasn't the only action star who peaked 40 years ago who has his own video game. In fact, 10 years earlier, we got Chuck Norris Superkicks. There's actually 2 Chuck Norris games. This is the serious one, if you can believe that. And here's what a serious Chuck Norris game looks like. Oh, yep. Those Atari 2600 sound effects. Oh, that hurts if you're wearing headphones. That is crunchy. So I believe the white figure here is Chuck Norris and his iconic, that's his hair. I guess that's a headband. His famous blue line he has around him. His porcelain white body, and of course his iconic green belt. Can you be a black belt? I love these fucking Atari 2600 games too, because it was like this, the whole game is like 6 minutes long, and I get this would have cost like $400. Okay, yeah, somewhere between 25 to 30 US dollars, equivalent of $91. That's awesome. Some idiots back in the day were paying 91 American dollars for this. To run around as a noodly armed Chuck Norris idiot. I love it's like clearly the same running sprite. Whoa, he can do flips, just like the real Chuck Norris. So yeah, if you weren't alive or were not on the internet in the 2000s, Chuck Norris jokes were they were funny at the time. I'll put it that way. You just paint him like an infinite badass. He's the coolest guy ever. The world bends to his will, and he can do anything. Here's some of them. Chuck Norris doesn't read books. He stares them down until he gets the information he needs. Time waits for no man unless that man is Chuck Norris. If you spell Chuck Norris in Scrabble, you win forever. It was a simpler time. You know what it is? I think it's just fun to say the word Chuck Norris. Because as a kid, I'd never watched any of his TV shows. I didn't know who the fuck he was. I just knew he was like a badass action guy. That's kind of all you need to know. It's like, oh yeah, he's a cool guy, and it's fun to say Chuck Norris. So they decided to make a video game out of that. Chuck Norris, Bring On the Pain. This was a $1 mobile game app from 15 years ago, 2009. Yep, this is like probably the height of this. So the game even has Chuck Norris jokes as loading screens. Chuck Norris can clap with only one hand. I mean, to be fair, like for a $1 mobile app, kind of swag. Really, it's before microtransactions and mobile games got married together. They actually did try and make video games that were just a video game you buy and just have. This is a fun example of that. Here's him killing, I believe, the Vietnamese. I'm not sure if that's acceptable. Of course, these celebrity power fantasies don't stop there. We also have 50 Cent's series of games. Added up, it ends up being about $1. 50 Cent Bulletproof, as well as 50 Cent Blood on the Sands, were a pair of action games featuring the rapper 50 himself, including a sick, very badass cinematic trailer where I believe he gets shot 9 times.
I run these streets. This whole city is mine. I never understand how people forget that.
Despite being a game ostensibly about 50 Cent, he doesn't quite seem to care enough to bring any kind of energy to the voice acting, which is going to be a recurring theme for most of these games. I also like that this is on floor 50. That's kind of fun. Wait a second, did he jump outside the cinematic bars there? This trailer and the game in general, it's very funny to me because the Chuck Norris stuff and the Steven Seagal stuff, they're kind of playing their characters from, you know, their respective movies and TV shows and whatnot. 50 Cent is just he's a guy. I suppose you could say he's playing a character too, obviously. It's just, I don't know, it's something so juvenile about it. Don't get me wrong, it's pretty sweet. 14-year-old me would have been like, oh, hell yeah. And, you know, even me today, I'm still, there's a small part of me that's going, hell yeah, 50. I think it's just funny because it's like, it's almost like implied, you know, before this rap thing took off, this is what I was doing. Except then 50 Cent Blood on the Sand is him as a rapper, and the story revolves around him recovering a diamond and pearl encrusted skull that was given to him as payment for a rap gig in an undisclosed Middle Eastern country. Yeah, this came out in 2011. We're in the heyday of the murky gray-brown military shooter kind of era. Is it the same year Modern Warfare 2 came out?
No.
We're coming off the Iraq War. The Middle East is ingrained in pop culture. 50 Cent himself decides to get in on the action. You get to drive around in Hummers. You get to fly a helicopter, which was added because 50 Cent's son suggested it when they did a play test one time. Because unlike Steven Seagal, 50 was involved. He recorded dialogue. He play tested the game. He even went to Iraq and actually shot a lot of insurgents himself. So that's nice. The other funny thing about this game is 50's just a huge asshole just all the time.
10 million guaranteed. That's the deal.
So first of all, he gets paid $10 million for what I can assume is just one concert. That's definitely what you get paid every concert, 50, especially in an unknown Middle Eastern country. Also, he's on stage wearing grenades. Bit of a safety risk, maybe. Hits the mic drop. Doesn't even say like goodbye or anything. He just kind of walks away.
Bad news, 50. No deposit.
Motherfucker.
He walks straight off the stage. Someone just hands him a gun. 50 and his crew always have guns everywhere and anywhere, and they're not afraid to use them against the fucking guy who books him. In a similar vein, Def Jam Fight for New York was a similar rap-themed video game back in the day, which was actually pretty good. The 50 games were kind of a mixed bag. Def Jam Fight for New York was actually a pretty in-depth fighting game featuring a number of the Def Jam crew. You can play as a Ghostface Killer, future President Joe Budden, Redman, Fat Joe, Busta Rhymes, Snoop Dogg is in it, because of course he is. You can even play as Lil Kim and Ice-T. You got this list of, pretty big names, especially at the time. And then on top of that, you can play as Jacob Arabo, the guy who founded Jacob and Company, the watchmaker. He's just in the game. That's some crazy fucking swag. To be a dude who's so influential in the rap community for your jewelry that they put you in their fighting video game. If you want a slightly less functional celebrity brawler, why not try the Celebrity Deathmatch game featuring 2 people accused of sexual assault, which is what you want. If you don't know Celebrity Deathmatch, it was a claymation satire show, kind of, I guess the closest thing you maybe compare it to is Robot Chicken. It ran on MTV. A lot of slapstick humor surrounding celebrities fighting to the death. You can play as, actually, again, some real heavy hitters for the time. You can play as Busta Rhymes. Did he make it into Def Jam Fight for New York? He did, as Magic. So massive year to be a Busta Rhymes fighting game fan. Mr. T is in it. All of NSYNC. You can play as Ron Jeremy. Oh, yep. I think this was shown as evidence. He pulls his cock out and it's an actual chicken. That's very funny.
Johnny, those are the biggest balls I've ever seen.
Oh, you can also play as Marilyn Manson, who, can't really remember whether or not the accusations against him were confirmed or not, but there was certainly a lot of them. And in the court of public opinion, that's good enough. Hey, real quick, I really hate doing this because it feels really lame, but if you like this channel, you like these videos, please consider liking or subscribing. It actually does help so much to get these videos pushed out to as many people as possible so I can spread my dark influence. Also, why not go to fantasydivision.com and pick up some of my merch. I'm very, very proud with how all this came out. Me and my boy Jared has put so much work into this. We've got tees, we've got tote bags that we designed for tabletop gaming. We've got keychains. You can buy a whole salmon for market price, and we'd love if you would go and check it out. So go to fantasydivision.com and pick yourself up something pretty. And hey, tell me I sent you. So celebrity power trips make sense, but the vast, vast, vast majority of celebrity video games are, unsurprisingly, sports games. These days, most sports games are just the name of the sport or whatever franchise name has been stuck to it, with one player featured on the box art who will often go on to have some kind of horrific accident like not long afterwards. Seriously, look it up. But back in the day, we would have an entire genre of sports games that were just desperately clinging to one athlete's stardom in particular. That's how you end up with stuff like Dave Robinson's Supreme Court. The game was endorsed by NBA player David Robinson. I mean, I'd certainly fucking hope so, since they use his name and face on the fucking box art, but does not feature an NBA license and instead features 4 different fictional American teams. Although, of course, when the graphics look like this, I don't think anyone's going to be feeling like they're having a fast one pulled over them, because you can't fucking tell who's who anyway, so what does it matter? Now, everyone knows Andre Agassi. Everyone loves tennis. Everyone loves, 1992's Andre Agassi tennis. Now, there's something I'd like you to point... something happens here, okay? I'll also point out this is made by the same people who made the fucking shitty Steven Seagal game. Andre Agassi tennis. This is the 1992 one. And now, a mere 10 years later, something tragic has happened to dear Andre Agassi. See if you can spot it. That is brutal, isn't it? Look at those locks. This already looks like a wig. And you've got the headband. Just wear a wig on the headband, man. That actually is so sad. Of course, let's follow that up with Jimmy White's Whirlwind Snooker. I hope you like Snooker. I love this box art. Unironically, it's actually really cool. Look at that. Look at how slick that is, blowing the chalk off. Virgin. When the fuck did Virgin make games? Do they still make games? Virgin Games. Hey, that'd be if you made video games, you fucking idiot. What's the latest game they published? Guilty Gear X, really? And Fallout. What the fuck? How have I never heard anyone talk about this game? What the hold on. Weird. Yeah, this does look bad. Not very much to say about Jimmy White's Whirlwind Snooker. I don't even think he's in the fucking game because the game looks like this. But there is one part of it I thought was quite fun. The game uses a copy protection mechanism in which the user is prompted to enter a word from the manual corresponding to a certain page, paragraph, and word number. Getting this word wrong 3 times causes the word fail to appear over the screen many times, after which in the MS-DOS version the computer was rebooted. I hope your mum doesn't throw out the manual, the pamphlet that comes with the game. Otherwise, you're not playing Jimmy White's Snooker anytime soon. Sorry, buddy. Of course, Jimmy White's Whirlwind Snooker, that box art's too classy. So here's Alex Higgins making love to the table while being encapsulated in a border of pure piss. Very nice yellow there. Compatible with the speech synthesizer for the Amstrad SSA-1s. I'm assuming you can talk to Alex Higgins in real time. That's how I read that. Amtix described the bull graphics as poor. Unfortunately, Alex Higgins' World Snooker fails at the one thing that it has to render, which is the bulls, apparently. Woof. Yeah, no, I see why. Come on, guys. You didn't even try and like put a little bit of shading on them or anything. You just... You just made the default circle in Microsoft Paint and called it there. Besides the ball graphics, it was considered generally a reasonable snooker game, but Steve Davis's snooker presents much better value for money. Man, the snooker titles.
Snooker. Snickies, Snickers.
The snooker video game titles back in the day were it was a cutthroat industry. God damn. That goes really hard. I can see why this is better. Of course, everyone knows Graham Gooch. Here's Graham Gooch's world-class cricket. Nothing to say there. Name's Graham Gooch. That's why I wanted to include that. Continuing a string of fucking awesome box arts. Look at Bassin's Black Bass Pro Fishing Series. Look at how fucking sick this art is. That's jumping right out the screen at you.
Who's that Pokemon?
It's Pikachu! It's fish.
You get to win against Hank Parker, who was a professional bass fisherman. Man, you got to be a real son of a gun to be a famous fisherman. And he got his own video game out of it. Very nice. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of sports games, mostly because I'm not really a fan of most sports. Just not really my thing, and especially the way that modern sports game fans are treated is not very nice. You guys really get thrown through a loop, but here's a fun one. Cal Ripken's Real Baseball. Sure, everyone here knows who Cal Ripken is. I certainly do. He actually made an MMO SG, a massively multiplayer online sports game. Sort of like World of Warcraft with the orcs were the Arizona Diamondbacks and the humans were, I don't know, the Yankees. The game was designed to allow 18 human-controlled players to compete simultaneously in virtual game, though the number was later reduced due to lag issues. Honestly, genuinely a really cool concept for a sports game. I'm a big fan of the game Foxhole, which is like a massive, persistent world game where every single unit as a player. And so to translate that to baseball is it's fun. It's a cool idea. Unfortunately, Cal Ripken's Real Baseball only made it to October of 2008. We've also got Bruce Jenner's World-Class Decathalon. Here's the riveting Wikipedia section. Gameplay in the game. In the game, the player participates in a decathlon. In fact, there's a fucking citation. Okay, hold on. I need to pull myself again. Holy fuck, that's funny. Yeah, like, hold on. Let's look this up. I want to watch this. That rules. Okay, I'm here. I'm here for it. Is that Bruce? Bruce, you're naked. Oh, this is meant to be early man, I guess. Oh, that was beautiful. Some poor bastard had to model and rig an entire deer model for it to be 2 seconds of the cutscene.
Hello everyone, I'm Bruce Jenner, and welcome to my world-class decathlon game. Now you can experience the thrill of competing for the gold in my realistic decathlon simulation game from Interactive Magic.
The skin tone slider changes your hair color, so that's good. Whoa, it's like I'm really there.
Congratulations, you've set a personal record.
Oh, that's nice. While on the topic of absolutely fucking insane video game titles, here's Greg Norman's Shark Attack exclamation mark, colon, the ultimate golf simulator. You can just see the two executives like completely unable to come to an agreement on what this should be called. One guy clearly said this needs to be called Greg Norman's Shark Attack, and then another dude said that's fucking stupid, no one knows what that means. We need to call this the ultimate golf simulator. They had to meet in the middle, unfortunately. My favorite thing about this is on the Wikipedia page, it says the game features a full view of each hole, which, you know, I'm sure the fellas out there will appreciate that one. Before he was trying his hardest to bring about the downfall of America, Hulk Hogan had a Xbox 360 Kinect game. This is a very dark time in gaming, the Kinect era. Funnily enough, the Kinect would go on to find a lot of use outside of gaming, but at this point in time, Microsoft was desperate to make it work. And so they built this hideous wrestling game to make full use of the Kinect's motion capabilities, wherein you as the player have to recreate the moves in order for your character to do them. Kind of flies in the face of the do not try this at home warning that they play before every match.
My life is on the line. Don't risk yours. Please, don't try this.
Except unless you're playing Hulk Hogan's stupid fucking Kinect game, then go nuts. I know it's futile, like I know all kids do. Back then, and probably today as well, is practice wrestling moves on each other, because it's like you're a fucking 10-year-old boy watching, you know, grown men fucking fling each other around, and you've got a sweet, squishy 8-year-old brother. No one was really particularly fond of the game, and because it was a Kinect game, it never fucking worked. So all in all, not the best game to attach yourself through there. The last one I want to talk to you about here is BMX XXX. Now notice there's no celebrity name associated with that. That's because the celebrity name associated with it asked to be removed, along with a large portion of the developers, if you can believe that. Quite a few of them asked for their last name to be initialized or even replaced with the name of like famous historical figures. That's how embarrassed some people were. BMX XXX was meant to be the third in the series of the Dave Mirra Freestyle BMX series, which is obviously a BMX style sports game, kind of loosely in the vein of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, but obviously with half as many wheels and twice as many broken bones, or maybe less. Is BMX more dangerous than skateboarding? Let me know how many injuries you've sustained below. Now, the first couple Dave Mirra games, the classics, that font is so insane. I thought it was in like Polish or something for a second. I thought this was like another language. Do you reckon they had to get Dave Mirra to sign off on him only being 3 triangles good at landing and only 3 triangles good at wall rides? A little bit of a flat scalp there, Dave, if you were taking a couple balls to the head. So anyway, Dave Mirra Freestyle BMX lets you fucking zip around on 2 wheels doing all the coolest BMX moves you can imagine. Again, very Tony Hawk's Pro Skater-esque. But for BMX XXX, publisher Acclaim decided to mix things up a little bit. Now you might recognize Acclaim from my previous video on video game marketing stunts, which I would highly recommend you go and watch after this one, of course. And this is yet another one of their outrageous marketing stunts. BMX XXX was one of the last flailing attempts of Acclaim to maintain relevance in an ever-shifting market. Their solution to stand out was to add in sex, porn, titties, all that good stuff. Unfortunately, learned pretty quickly that the old adage sex sells is actually factually incorrect. You actually have to make a good game on top of the titties, as we discussed in the previous video as well. Their reasoning for this was that it was becoming harder and harder to stand out in an ever-growing market of sports games, and they thought that the rise in raunchy adult humor from the likes of Grand Theft Auto and South Park, as well as the fact that people like titties, would probably be enough to get them to play BMX XXX. And while Dave Mirra was initially on board with it, from the way it's described here, it seems like there was a bit of a schism, a bit of a misunderstanding between Dave and Acclaim about what kind of humor this would be. Mirra thought it would be something more along the lines of Airplane or other similar Leslie Nielsen-led projects. Meanwhile, Acclaim was eyeing up Jackass and Grand Theft Auto. So, a little bit of a difference in opinion there. At a certain point, Dave Mirra realized that attaching his name to a game where you can unlock footage of employees of the New York strip club scores to view as reward for doing good in the game probably wouldn't be good for his career. So he distanced himself. However, tragically, BMX XXX was a huge flop and was part of the reason why Acclaim ended up going bankrupt. Dave Mirra himself would actually sue Acclaim after its release, claiming that his association with the game damaged his image. He said that Acclaim allegedly used his name and likeness to promote BMX XXX after both parties agreed to disassociate his name from the product. I think my favorite thing about BMX XXX, if you look it up, there's a video on the official IGN YouTube channel with 19 million subscribers from 20th of May 2011, and it's just a 23-second video with no commentary shot on what appears to be like the show floor at E3, showcasing the supposed boob shake, or as it's titled, BMX XXX GameCube gameplay dash boob shake.
So we're gonna go in here and I'm gonna run around and show you a little bit of Mika. We'll just stop here, I'm gonna get against the wall so you can see her. So we worked on her breast technology a little bit, it's moving around. Like I said, you can take her shirt off and she can run around with no shirt on. We're gonna go over here, and you can have up to 16 other characters in the environment at the same time.
And that's the whole video. I'm so confused about why the fuck they uploaded just that. I don't know what IGN was on 14 years ago, but they felt that was a clip worth sharing. I love the creepiness of I'm assuming one of the developers on the showroom being like, here, let me fucking push the camera up against a wall so we can look at her tits. It's like something you do when you're like 12 and your friend comes around, you're like, dude, check this out. In GTA, if you can pick up a prostitute, she'll suck your dick. Look at this. This is fucking awesome.
Some other time.
Okay, that's it. I'm out of here. Fuck. What can I do for you?
What's this one? It's like a Looney Tunes dude. Okay, enough of that. This is a weirdly specific genre. I've decided to title it Weirdly Well-Made Platformer Games That Have No Connection to the Celebrity's Real Occupation. These are the likes of your Shaq Fu's, your Michael Jordan Chaos in the Windy City, and your Michael Jackson's Moonwalker. All three of which are just like really solid, quite fondly remembered platformer games. And another one which I haven't heard anyone talk about, which is Go Go Beckham Adventure on Soccer Island, which is a Game Boy Advance game heavily inspired by the Mario series, in which you play David Beckham, soccer player and famous bendy man, and a kind of a faux Japanese style platformer, but it's actually a British game. But it's very faithful to both soccer and the genre of Japanese platformer it's kind of parodying. It just looks like a fun game and it's very well reviewed. Yep. Not very much to say about this. It's just a cool looking game. I don't know how we got here, but I'm glad we're here. Of course, this is one of the other popular genres of celebrity video game, the soulless cash grab. Why have integrity when you can just have a big stinking pile of money instead? And all it costs is your face.
I have AIDS.
Dave Mirra wasn't the only one to sue Acclaim. Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen were also taking them to court around the same time for their series of Mary-Kate and Ashley video games. Now, the Mary-Kate and Ashley brand was like fucking insane. These two dominated the teenage entertainment industry for years and clearly left a mark on them. They're very interesting people now. I like the meme that says, it looks like one of them knows when you're gonna die and the other one knows how you're gonna die. But hey, at least their sister Elizabeth got to have at least a semi-normal childhood, I suppose. My sister was born well after the Mary-Kate and Ashley fad had passed, so I was never really exposed to it as a kid, and therefore can't really say I understand the appeal. I get it's not aimed at me. I'm not saying it's bad. I don't like, are they good actors? Were they particularly good at acting? Were they just rich girls who could afford to have ponies and whatever other stuff? What was the appeal? Please let me know. These chicks pumped out a number of games. You'll find with a few of these games, they're not really games. I don't know if that's like a girl thing back in the day where they were like, oh man, these stupid 10-year-old girls won't be able to handle the pure complexity of a masculine game like fucking, I don't know, Age of Empires 2, whatever nonsense I was playing back then. Instead, let's just give them like a variety of like digital activity books, essentially. And that's how we end up with stuff like Mary-Kate and Ashley Dance Party of the Century, which appears to just be a string of videos of the girls dancing that they've loosely tied around some games like Name That Dance, Dress Up to Dance, Scrambled Eras, Dance Class, and that very early like Adobe Illustrator vector art style.
Score!
Oh, and don't forget the FMV. While watching this, I've been really genuinely cannot tell whether or not the people dancing are Mary-Kate and Ashley. Now, I'm inclined to believe it's not. I really don't think it's them, especially when you see the input these girls have had to this, where like, let's get one more take out of Mary-Kate or maybe Ashley.
Score!
So that's the kind of effort they were putting into the, you know, the takes of this. So the idea that they learnt multiple different dances from different eras to me seems very unlikely. I think what's more likely is they just found two like petite dancers, like fully grown women who just wore like masks. But the quality on this is so low res that like it really is quite hard to tell if it is Mary-Kate or Ashley. Again, this is kind of as big as they get on screen, and so like the quality wasn't very high, and I wouldn't be surprised if they just did the same shit they did with that Steven Seagal game where they're like, yeah, the quality's too low, we'll just get some actors in and compress it down and no one will notice anyway. Next up we have Mary-Kate and Ashley Get a Clue, which is a puzzle platformer for the Game Boy Color. Mary-Kate and Ashley Get a Clue. I don't know about the dog. I don't know what the dog's problem is. I don't know if the dog is involved in this. He's there. Listen to this crunchy audio. The fact that I was somehow able to translate, you know, recorded dialogue into sound effects that can be played on the Game Boy's incredibly limited memory is pretty impressive, but you still sound like you're in a fucking beehive. Watching through these and seeing these little dubbed lines, which is, you know, really the only actual involvement I imagine the girls had in any of these, it really makes me feel bad for them. I know it's not like they're having to read out huge scripts or anything, but you just know it's like these girls probably had their childhood kind of robbed. Like they would have had a really cool, crazy, over-the-top childhood, but they definitely got like chewed up by Hollywood a little bit. And these poor girls are probably just shoved into some recording booth and told like, okay, here's the script. Okay, do that. Okay, yep, no, now we're going on to record the next thing. And we, you know, I have this mental image of them just being like shunted around places, not really ever getting to pick like what they want to do. Reminds me of those like family YouTube channels, you know, where like the kids are just being exploited for views and don't really ever get to have like an actual childhood. This is exactly what I mean, right? The acoustics are abysmal. They're clearly in their fucking stupidly large LA mansion. Clearly just ran up to the kids, you know, whoever runs this 3D animation subsidiary of the Prince family, I guess just fucking had to like go over and just stick a microphone in front of the kid's face while he's fucking like eating crackers and juice or whatever. And was like, hey, can you say these lines about Skibbity Toilet? And the kid's like,
our parents turned into Skibbity Toilet and we need your help to make them normal again.
This kid like 6, like he can barely even fucking read the script. Which is fine. He's a child. He shouldn't be reading scripts. Next up, we have Mary-Kate and Ashley Winner's Circle, a horse racing game. I don't have anything to say about this, except I do love Chris Baker of official US PlayStation magazine stated the game might have some teenagers hot to trot, but found the game had frustrating controls. This was from the official PlayStation magazine. I do find it very funny back in the day, though. Maybe they still do this now. They really got these like 38-year-old gamer guys. And keep in mind, this is like 2002, right? If you're reviewing for PlayStation magazine, you are like a capital G gamer. You know, they sit them down and they say, well, Chris, we need you to review Mary-Kate and Ashley Winner's Circle. Not from the perspective of like, hey, if you're a parent looking to buy this game for your kids, is this a good game for your children to play? Like reviewing it as though other 38-year-old men are going to be like, interesting, Mary-Kate and Ashley Winner's Circle. I actually only got 2 out of 3 circles from the official PlayStation magazine, so I have to give this one a miss because I do respect the opinion of Chris Baker. Continuing the trend of fucking Mary-Kate and Ashley games that aren't even games, we have Mary-Kate and Ashley Pocket Planner, which takes the worst part of any console game, which is having to use the on-screen keyboard to type out anything, and turns that into a whole game. It's literally a pocket planner with Mary-Kate and Ashley sort of just sitting in the background. Very outdated binary genders as well, so I'm not a fan of that. You have to use this fucking keyboard for everything? I struggle to use a planner with a keyboard. The idea of having to write it all out with a fucking Game Boy Color keyboard. Woof. IGN review of it from 2001. This was written by the guy who wrote the Pokemon of the Day. So in case you're wondering the credentials of the reviewer here. There's also a crushometer where you can point your Game Boy Color at your crush and it will tell you whether or not they are crushing back to you. And I'm not sure if there's any kind of science involved in that. This guy keeps bringing up how cute they are. I'm not really too sure about that. The pictures aren't so good quality, but the Olsens are cute enough to look their best even in bad pictures. And the final Mary-Kate and Ashley video game is Mary-Kate and Ashley Sweet 16 License to Drive. Now, from that title, would you guess that this was a racing game? You are wrong. Well, you're wrong unless you play the Game Boy Advance version, in which case that is a racing game, but the main version of this, it is a Mario Party clone. if you can believe that.
We're planning a big Sweet 16 party tonight. We'll need cool music. Boys, don't forget the boys. Girls, activate your cell phones. We've got work.
Typical girl game fashion. Mario stars are replaced with friends. I'm also a big fan of the line, girls activate your cell phones. Also, the shift from this fun, upbeat cutscene to actual gameplay is jarring.
Because we're Sweet 16 and licensed to drive.
You know, not quite as exciting once the actual game starts. I do like, instead of having the characters jump off the heads like they do in Mario Party, obviously they're cars, they can't just drive through. So instead they drive in the lane beside and toot at all the people they drive past.
Having car troubles?
But it's just a worse Mario Party. As I mentioned earlier, they later sued Acclaim. These games were all published by Acclaim's girls division, I guess. Club Acclaim, they called it. In 2004, the Olsen Twins sued Acclaim because they claimed that Acclaim had not made payments on a settlement agreement. Settlement agreement came about because an audit of Acclaim's books showed that royalties due to the twins had not been paid. They owed $178,000 to the girls, which would be hard to pay because they went bankrupt not long after this. While we're on the topic of 2000s teen sensations, here's Britney's Dance Beat, a Britney Spears themed dancing game with this fantastic cutscene. Whoa.
Hey there, I'm Britney Spears.
Hey Britney, this is a very quiet cutscene.
Since I spend so much time on the road with my dancers, they're like my family. So if you think you've got what it takes, let's see what you can do.
Dead silence throughout that cutscene. That was not edited by me, by the way. That cutscene is nothing but dialogue. What is that move she's trying to pull off as well? That was beautiful. Look, it's a rhythm game with Britney Spears music that I can't play in the background. And all the comments on this appear to be from gay men. I'm not being rude or anything. That's just literally... The top comment says, I was 8 and used to go to my first and only girlfriend's place to play this game. Turns out I'm gay. Jumping from America over to Japan, AKB 148, if you don't know, is a stage show mixed with an idol group where there's kind of like a permanent presence for them in Tokyo. I visited it back in the day, actually. They kind of have like a rotating cast of idols. So it's kind of like, instead of One Direction disbanding, they just rotated out the members. And also there was 48 of the little running around. You could kind of go, be guaranteed to be able to see a concert whenever you wanted. Kind of an interesting idea for a band. As you can imagine, the Japanese froth over these poor little girls. Sorry, they're not girls, they are women. Which I suppose allows them to make weird dating sims like this one here. AKB48. Idol to Koishitara. Oh my god. I can speak some Japanese. Koishitara. Yes. AKB 148. Idol to Koishitara. This is a PSP game where you get to pick one of the beautiful ladies. A real hodgepodge of photographs. Some of them appear to just be like they ran up to them in the studio and just took a photo. You get to go on a date with them. The whole thing's in Japanese, so you know, don't expect me to fucking know what's going on here, but the parasocial relationships being promoted here are almost certainly going to end with one of these poor ladies getting taken to the John Lennon dimension. Can I say that? Is that a good way of putting that? You know that there's some fucking freak Japanese guy out there who's just played this like he's got his favorite idol and he's just played their dating sim over and over and over again like a million times. On occasion, you need some inspiration. Here's a light gun arcade game in which the AKB48 girls are zombies and you have to shoot them with a vaccine gun. I really hope that some stalker doesn't use this to practice shooting the girls in the head. Oh no, she's fine. Maybe that's how we should have handled COVID. Just running around with a fucking a vaccine gun, just capping people. Of course, there's also an unlockable scene where they dance as zombies. Ladies, this is not the fucking time. It's a zombie apocalypse. Pull it together. This is why K-pop took over instead. This is a game called Battle Rap Stars, an iOS, a mobile rap battle game, apparently the first of its kind, released back in 2011. It has you rap against world famous rappers like Paul Wall, Mr. FAB, Hobson, Jay Peasy, Fresh Caesar. I hate Hobson, and apparently they hate Hobson too because his bio about him is rough. On the official website of Battle Rap Stars, here's what they say about Hobson. Like many kids, Hobson wanted to be cool, but as hard as he tried, he never graduated past being that weird black kid that rode around on a skateboard. He tried to get attention by making people laugh, but he always ended up being the butt of the joke. Why would you include this in your bio, man? He wrote songs for girls to get them to like him, but got no love. Stuck in special education classes, all right. Hobson did not see much of a future. His teachers did nothing but reinforce the feelings that he wouldn't amount to anything, especially if he continued to waste his time attending classes where nothing was actually being taught. So with no money and only a few real friends, Hobson dropped out of school in 2004. What was his latest song? Was it that really racist Chinese one? It was. I think. Happy ending.
I walked in and she was like,
hello, how you doing? I can give you good massage.
They really made this into a music video, huh? They looked at all the songs on the album and they thought, you know what? That's what we got to put on. We got to put on Happy Ending. So that's Hobson. That's Battle Rap Stars. It was a game where you fucking battle rapped and it supposedly could detect your, like you rapped into your phone and it could tell how good the rap was. These days I could see some kind of AI thing doing it, but back then I'm going to assume they just made it up. You know, like how SingStar doesn't actually like detect what words you're singing. It kind of just like matches pitch or something. It's like that. I doubt it really worked. Their Twitter is quite entertaining as well. Let's chuck them a follow. All 500 people who sign up to this. Unfortunately, all these links are dead, as you can imagine, because it's a fucking iOS game from 14 years ago. And unfortunately, all the YouTube links don't work either. So we will never know, unfortunately, whether or not Barack Obama really did play Battle Rap Stars. Woof. The last celebrity I'd like to talk about today is my old mate Gordon. Now, I really like Gordon Ramsay. I think he's a cool guy. I think he's a very hard worker. I think he's quite entertaining and funny. I've never liked his shouty stuff.
They're gonna blow fire in your face, you fucking donkey!
You know, I don't watch Hell's Kitchen or Kitchen Nightmares or Hell's Kitchen Nightmares or Kitchen Nightmares in Hell or any of that sort of shit. I watch all his cooking stuff, so I like watching cooking videos. And in those, he's like a calm, reassuring dad.
The cheese is melted. Oh my goodness me.
But obviously I'm aware of his reputation for a guy who yells at you with creative TV-friendly slurs. So obviously they tried to make a few games out of that. If you don't know who Gordon Ramsay is, real quick, he's responsible for making the funniest video of all time.
Because the pan you put them in were like smoking. Like, I'd expect her to sear a beef in it.
Okay, Sean.
Okay. Dear Gordon Ramsay. He's had a couple games in his time. He had a Wii game called Hell's Kitchen, the game, in which a very creepy fucking Madame Tussauds wax sculpture of himself screams at you.
The doors are opening right now. Let's go. Yes?
Keeping in line with the rest of these celebrity video games, the voice acting from Gordon in this one is pretty rough, Gordon, to be honest with you. I'll cut him some slack. He's not an actor, he's a chef. The ones where it was actors like Mary-Kate and Ashley phoning it in, I feel like that's a bit more fair to criticize. But it is funny, like you can just hear Gordon in the booth. He had like 10 minutes free in his whole day, and these game developers managed to like get him in, threw him in a booth. Pretty much doing the Krusty the Clown, like running in, just reading through the whole script in 2 seconds before they've even changed the tapes over.
3. Bada bing, bada boom, I'm done.
You donkey.
Where's the zest in that one, Gordon? Come on, you can summon some more than that. What is that?
You donkey.
It's not convincing in the slightest. I like this trailer as well. It says 35 recipes to conquer. In case you're worried about it being gay or something. It's not. It's a cool manly game. You conquer recipes like war. This isn't aimed at women. It comes with real recipes that you can apparently print according to this icon at the bottom here. I mean, it's a fun idea, I guess, but the idea of loading up your fucking Nintendo Wii copy of the Hell's Kitchen video game in order to fucking figure out what you're cooking for dinner tonight. The fact that someone has done that is endlessly entertaining to me.
Don't even touch another thing in this kitchen.
He doesn't sound fired up in the slightest. The actual game itself is literally just a Wii version of one of those like Papa's Pizzeria games, those restaurant manager sims where you have to kind of balance, you know, taking orders, cooking, chopping veggies, all that kind of shit. I mean, it looks fine. The Papa's games are like free on the internet, and they don't have weird fucking plastic Gordon Ramsay screaming at you, so I guess that makes them not as good, but they are free. The Hell's Kitchen video game lives on in Roblox now.
This is Hell's Kitchen. Here, you'll go head to head against the greatest chefs on Roblox. Good luck. You're gonna need it.
Insane. What? I don't even know where Roblox sits on the irony scale anymore. But Gordon Ramsay didn't just stop there. He decided to take it one step further and make Gordon Ramsay Chef Blast. This is an iOS game, and it has some of the laziest advertising I've ever seen.
Now the trick to softly boiling an egg is place the eggs in the spoon, gently lower them into the water. Okay, turn down the gas. So it's simmering, cook for 4.5 minutes, and then find something fun to do.
Very clearly not him playing the game. Just like randomly tapping the screen. You know, like in movies where actors are playing video games, but they don't know how to play video games. So they're just like pushing every button and like wiggling the joysticks in all directions.
Now, how are you doing all those back? Oh, I'm gonna get you.
That's the mobile game version of what he's doing here. He doesn't even know like what type of game it is. It's like a tile matching puzzle game. There's like a fucking 1 million of these on the App Store. They're not really games where you like furiously tap at your screen. It's a puzzle game. You know, you take your time and plan out your moves and then do it. But Gordon's a fucking genius apparently. He's ripping through it.
And that's how you make a hard-boiled egg.
I'm so confused about what the joke is there. It says 8 minutes later, even though he said wait 4 minutes, which I guess the implication is he was so enthralled pretending to play his game that he like overcooked the eggs, but there's a timer going off at 8 minutes. So like, did he set a timer for 8 minutes or 4 minutes? And then he cuts open the egg and that looks like a soft-boiled egg to me, right? Or is it like hard? Oh, maybe it is hard. There's also this one here, which I really don't like. Here's if Gordon Ramsay yelled at game developers the same way he yells at chefs. That's the whole joke for 1:40.
I'm Gordon Ramsay and we're still giving a visit to Glue Mobile, who are all hard at work on my new Gordon Ramsay Dash. Let's just quickly check in on them.
Hey! Hey! What in the f is going on?
I'm a bit of a hypocrite in saying this because I've definitely brought a Nerf gun to the office before. That sounds way sketchier when you say it out loud. But I think Nerf guns are lame. Now, sorry, I've decided. It's kind of like the ping pong table at the office. You know, it's like it's not necessarily a bad thing on its own, but it's part of this kind of culture of like, no, we're like a cool office. We're like, we have fun here. Meanwhile, it's like, you know, awfully mismanaged and you're miserable the whole time. But you're allowed to have a Nerf gun. But if you fire it off more than once a week, then HR will come and tap you on the shoulder and be like, hey, Jeremy, you're interrupting your colleagues quite a lot. Could you maybe not play with the fucking Nerf guns that we sold the office on?
It's been so great working with the Dash team here at Glue. They really understand what it takes to make a great cooking game.
My bad. There's actually two jokes. Two jokes for the price of one in this video. The other joke is that Gordon's doing an interview where he's lying, I guess, about how good the team is for some reason.
I really love the look of the game, the art style. It's got great aesthetics, amazing attention to detail.
Who animates this character? It's got no secondary animation to it. If I wanted to play with dolls, I'd stay at home with the fucking kids.
Sorry, what are we doing, Chef?
In a nutshell, it's been an absolute delight working with the Dash team at Glue. They are a very talented, really sophisticated group of people.
Yeah, and tighten up the graphics on level 3, will you?
Yes, Chef.
Muppet.
Tune up the graphics on level 3. Does this game even have levels? Yeah, so that sucks. No, nothing else to say there. But all that doesn't matter because the game must print fucking money. This is only on Google Play, not even on iOS. It has over 165,000 reviews, which we all know is like only a small fraction of the actual player base, and apparently over 1 million downloads. So that tells me Gordon is going to be doing just fine. This one also includes real recipes, although this one makes a bit more sense than the fucking Wii game because it's like on your cell phone, so you could, you know, theoretically have it open while you're cooking and not have to wield the fucking Wii 2008 like giant fuck off television into the kitchen and set up the Wii so you can read the recipe. Oh, good lord. Good lord above. Well, anyway, those are a few ideas on how to make a celebrity video game. Hope you found those interesting. I really do love the brazen nature these celebrities have to come into our space. The game is space, and think they can shit out some half-baked, poorly voice-acted video game concepts and print money. And well, to be fair, that's kind of exactly what they do. Well, it's been fun. Be sure to head over to twitch.tv/minikudos to watch me play some of these games for the next week or two. And of course, head over to fancydivision.com. Again, we put so much fat, juicy love and effort into these clothes, into these totes, into these keychains, and all the other fantastic products on offer. Please go check it out. If you're interested, you like what I do here, it really goes a long way to help keep the lights on, keep the camera rolling. Alrighty. Well, okay. Oh, and like and subscribe. Thank you.